Well, good morning. A beautiful day here at La Casa de Cristo, and what an amazing message from Pastor Matt this morning. So creative, and so visual too. The Word became flesh, and He made His made His dwelling among us. We also saw Noah riding around the sanctuary today. I mean, unbelievable. Here's Noah now. Noah, get back over here. Oh my gosh, you did an amazing job this morning. Were you nervous this morning?
Um, a little bit.
You were flawless. Now, were you thinking about pedaling or doing any of that stuff that your dad was talking about up there?
No.
No. Okay, good. So you just were having fun riding around the sanctuary.
Yeah.
Now, if I were, I'd like to go grab one of those other bikes and ride around with you because that looks like a lot of fun. Being out there riding around the front of the altar and all through all those people. So all those people didn't make you nervous?
No.
Well, sounds like you are on the career path to becoming a pastor. Good job, Noah. Thank you so much for doing that. It was awesome. Great job writing and continue on. It was just amazing. Today, we are highlighting some new stuff. All the stuff we do here on the Interlude is to try to highlight stuff that's behind the scenes of worship and music and the technology that goes on in the church. So this week, our friendly folks here in the media booth, I've got Connor here with me. Come on over here, Connor. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well. It is a beautiful day, and the weather's starting to slowly make that turn into
I know.
a more pleasant direction.
So sad, isn't it?
So I know it's with a heavy heart that we wave
I
goodbye
know.
to this.
I know it's terrible. I actually do like the heat. I mean, it's like you just kind of don't have to be cold. I'm not a really cold person, so
We do like to hold our feet to the flame around here too.
that's
We
true.
like the heat.
you got that right. So this week, you and Gary have been hard at work putting a new switcher in. And back here, we're starting back here because this was kind of the brains and the impetus between this whole new switcher thing. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so this was kind of our workbench area. You can see we have a huge stack of boxes too. We've been replacing a lot of things little by little here, starting in our sanctuary, and then we'll make it over to the gathering place as well. So including new monitors as well for all of our different cameras that we have in the worship space. And so that's what some of those boxes are. This is one of those new monitors that's going to make its way over to the gathering place as well. And yeah, so we got a new switcher. And you'll see what that looks like.
Now let's just we'll take it to elementary level. What's a switcher? What does that do?
Yeah, so there's two components to the switcher. There's the switcher itself, and then the switcher surface, which most people, myself included, until I learned more, was they're two separate things. It's not the actual. You'll see in a second, but
Okay.
The camera switcher is what we use to control all of the different cameras that we have in our worship areas. Most of which can be controlled remotely, so we're able to see. All these different angles, where the pastor's going to be moving, if he's moving from the altar to the pulpit, where our singers are going to be, if Jeremy's moving from the organ to the piano, we have that ready, and we preview, and we decide what goes live. We can decide one thing can be live in-house, and another thing can be live completely differently for online.
Awesome. So you take basically all these camera angles. So you've got, say, how many do we have out there, do you think?
Oh gosh, in the sanctuary, at least 8, right? I mean, we have 5 cameras that we can control remotely. We have 2 man cameras, one of which is being used right now. We have
Chase, why don't you get yourself a little cameo? This is
Yeah.
Chase. He always runs our interlude camera for the most part on Sundays. So there's Chase. Does a great job for it.
So that's one of them. I mean, I'm going to say like 8 or 9. We
Okay.
have a couple of on the organ as well. So yeah, this is exactly why we have a switcher, and we've needed a new one as well. So
Right.
little by little, as technology improves and there's more features and functions, we kind of start cycling in some new stuff, and it was time for the switcher. So we started back here with our workbench, and we had our old one, and Gary and I were making sure that we could talk to everything in the way that we needed to. It's not quite just plug and play. Everything needs to communicate with each other in a certain way, and then plugging in all the existing cameras that we have into the brain and making sure everything is where it needs to be.
And it's a big job.
Yes.
Big
yeah,
job.
absolutely.
So you guys finished this past week, and we were hoping it was going to work, and it did. So great job.
It did, yes, thank you. So yeah, this is the very first worship weekend with the new switcher here in the sanctuary. Eventually we'll get over to the gathering place, but yeah, this is the christening of the new system.
Awesome. So you guys out there, let us know. Did you notice anything different? Was it smooth, seamless?
And if you did notice, I don't want to know.
Complain to Gary. We'll give you his email.
Okay,
All right.
sounds
Let's
good.
Connor, let's go check it out. Well, you lead the way here. All
Okay,
right.
yeah, so that was our workbench,
Okay.
and then it started out in there, and so here, let me show you what we used to work with. This is our old switcher surface. We have all these different buttons here that control the different cameras, our transitions, separating from the house and the stream, and more boxes, old components, old hyperdecks. This is how we can record anything that is running through our switcher system.
Now, this is really important. So this hyperdeck, we could plug in hard drives to this thing.
Yep, and the slots right here on the left.
The old one, when we plugged something and tried to record it recorded it at this gigantic thing. I mean, not to get too technical, but the files were huge. I mean, they were just gigantic. This new one, we could plug right in, and it's very seamless, and just pull it right out and kind of give it to whoever we need to give it to.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, So it's, the hyperdeck still records, and we need that. We do need that, but yeah, these quality of life improvements make a huge difference. So yeah, if we have concerts or services, things that run for over an hour, we could only record in one specific video codec, and so you were getting 50 to 60 gigabyte size files, and then we'd have to go in and re-export
Which is
that.
just outrageously gigantic.
Outrageously.
Like a typical, a Hollywood movie on a DVD would be maybe 4 or 5 gigs.
Yeah,
and this thing
Blu-rays aren't even that large,
right,
So
this thing was just for, to kind of give a comparison, is 6 or 7, Blu-rays all in one thing for just a 1 hour service.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so we have not installed the new hyperdeck yet because we're we're just making sure that we're up and running for worship. But yeah, once we got that going, we'll have a much more manageable file size with things. So it's all incremental. So this is the old hyperdeck.
Tell me what this piece of the technical equipment is.
This
looks like the best, the most interesting thing to me back here.
It's the secret sauce to our success, really, and that is just
when you take this and sprinkles. I mean,
yeah, there we go.
Nothing better.
Our friends right across the street, feed us each week. Our staff, our volunteers alike.
Shout out to Danny, who's
shout out to Danny, who's been bringing in donuts.
Gracias, my friend.
All
right,
but
show us the hyperdeck, and then we're gonna go to Gary here, who's chewing my mouthful here.
Should we bring in Gary now?
Gary, why don't you come in here? I'm gonna chew on this donut, and Connor will take over.
Okay.
Hey, Connor.
So Gary, you and I worked all week this week, and at the tail end of last week as well, to switch out all the switcher stuff. So I guess let's start kind of coming in here. You got to see.
Before we do that, let me give them a little overview of what had to happen to make sure that this was able to be done.
Yes, absolutely.
The equipment that is in here now was actually put in back in 2016, 2017 when the gathering place was brand new. And as you know, technology-wise, that's many, many generations. And you'll see the difference between the old switcher surface and the new switcher surface. You'll see some of the upgrades, and it's very stark and very significant. But primarily, what we were worried about was reliability, because we're starting to have some issues with the older equipment, and we really need to get it replaced. So it's actually been on the drawing board for about 2 years, where we've been searching the equipment, finding the equipment that would work and that's still at a reasonable price, but yet will give us hopefully our 10-year life cycle. And that's what we shoot for, is to try to get something that will last for 10 years. And so the project finally was approved. It's been funded, and now it's all in place. In here anyway, we still have the gathering place to do, but we're going to work on that. But right now, let's go head back in and actually look at the equipment itself.
Yeah, so you got to see what the old switcher surface looked like. And here is our brand new switcher surface. Now, we've been saying switcher. And as you may remember from the very beginning, this is not the switcher proper. This is just the switcher surface. If we're able to come over here around this corner, we have a whole rack of gizmos. I'll move that chair out of the way for you. I'll move the Dutch Bros. That's the other secret ingredient. So this big guy here, that's our old switcher that was talking to our old switcher surface. This guy right above it, he's much smaller. That is our brand new switcher. And so now that you know that, coming back over here to our switcher surface, some of the new functions right off the bat, there's more inputs. And so that opens up new avenues of coverage and what we're able to do in here. The other cool thing is, without getting too technical, the way that we were able to distinguish between the house and the stream before, we had to toggle 2 different buttons.
That's a lot of buttons.
Yes, yeah. So it's
So you said Death Star before. This is really, I mean, we're talking Star Wars.
we are in a spaceship now. Like it felt like we were in a spaceship before, but this is like a space station, wouldn't you say?
Shout, if anybody's out there that's interested in learning this stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
welcome volunteers to come down here and participate. We have Ethan right here.
Yeah. Let's go over to Ethan.
Hello. You started as a volunteer, and you now are back here full time. So if you are interested in coming and learning all this equipment, there's a whole bunch of buttons there, and there. So if you're a button pusher, are you a button pusher, Ethan?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, I think all of us are button enthusiasts back here. I mean, Connor, you?
Oh yeah, we push buttons around here.
Look, Danny back there, the donut man, he's a button pusher himself. But anyway, continue on, Connor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no worries. So the biggest thing was we had to often toggle between the house and stream, what was going out. Sometimes it's the same. Actually, in most cases, for the majority of our service, pardon me, it is the same feed. But
When you say the house and the stream, you mean, so we've got these screens that are up here out in the sanctuary.
mhm.
Jake's will show. So when you say the house, that's what you're talking about. What you're saying is that you can change what goes on here in the house on those screens versus what the people at home right now are seeing on their screens.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually, it's indicated by our monitors, which are also brand new too. So if we look over here at the monitors, so this left monitor represents what's live in-house. So we have our La Casa logo right now up in the sanctuary as we're doing the interlude. And then we come over here, and you're going to get this cool infinite loop glitch thing going on because this is for our stream. And
So this is a good example of this. So right inside the sanctuary, all we see is the Casa logo up there, and the guys, the people at home are seeing with you right now, talking about the very thing.
exactly. And so going back to the switcher surface, it's the same set of buttons, but this whole top section commands just the in-house portion of the cameras, and this whole lower section of the switcher surface is for our stream. But if I want to have the same thing going for both feeds, there's a way to sync that up as well. But yeah, we can jump around to all kinds of things. There's different buttons like, all right, nobody panic, nobody freak out. But for a second, we're going to fade to black because I can do that. Check it out.
Bye,
Whoa,
Connor.
where'd we go? We turn off the lights.
Goodbye, Connor.
And we're back. So it's just a lot of fun. And, new toys are fun, but really, it betters the church. And like Gary was saying, longevity is key as well. So we took a lot of time and attention in picking out what the church was needing for long-term goals. And it was due, and this is cool. And, there's some wrinkles to iron out. It's actually pretty interesting realizing what your muscle memory is after getting used to operating a particular piece of equipment for so long. It can be like, you know how to drive a car, but then if you get into a car that you've never driven before, it can feel a little bit different. Or if you're at a hotel,
you've added another stick shift here. I mean, there's two.
There's two. Yeah, there is
You've
two
doubled
levers
your
now.
stick shift thing.
It's like when you go to like a hotel and it has like a weird shower and you're like, why are there 5 different nozzles in here? Like, what does that do? I think I know how to take a shower, right? There's shampoo, maybe there's some soap, but it's part of the fun. It's a fun part of the challenge.
I'm liking where you're going with this.
Thanks.
Anyway, so back to our, we were talking about all these cameras. So we've got this one camera. So in our sanctuary, we've got written on one side of the wall and on the other side of the wall a couple of Bible passages. One is, the Word became flesh.
Yeah, we can go live to that right
and
now. Thank you,
made
Ethan.
Is dwelling among us. So I had these guys pull this thing up, and so from right here, Ethan can take that camera and pan that lovely inscription that's on the wall there. There's another one that's on the other side. It's from Isaiah, and it's
We have to
over
use
there.
camera 3
Anyway,
for that one,
there's a lot
Ethan.
of cameras and a lot of things that But we have capability to do wise. This will
Oh, there we
hopefully increase our output for our stream and for in-house too. So we can add a whole bunch of different cameras now, right? I mean, is that something that's down the works?
I think so. Eventually. Right now, we're kind of getting back to neutral, and then we'll see how to continue to build from there. There's already a lot of coverage in here in the sanctuary, but with all that space, there are new avenues for different angles and things like that. And the beauty of it all is that we now do have more inputs than we had previously. So those options are available. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Connor, I'm so excited about this. It's really even just the 2-lever thing. I mean, adding more buttons in any project is always good in my book.
Yeah, the old Surface, it was just the one, and we had to constantly toggle. But yeah, now the nice thing is this is all for in-house up here. This is all for the stream down here, and yeah, it's really, really cool. And as always, if anyone is interested in learning more about how this works, if you want to accrue some technical skills, join a great team of people who all work behind the scenes to uplift and elevate our congregation's worship experience, come reach out to me, find myself or Gary or Chris, and we'll get you set up. These things they're fun to pick up and learn, and
You learn a new skill.
and it's all for God too.
It's fun working back here with a great bunch of guys, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's the most joyous part of my job. I can say that honestly. Is just working with our team here, and it's just fun tackling different things, whether it's sermon and installing new equipment.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think we've covered it. So maybe next time we'll go over here and see what Danny's doing with that thing to his ear over there, because another important part of it. This was just all video part. I mean, there's another whole audio part of it that is essentially a whole new world.
A whole new world. It's true.
It
yeah,
is true.
Danny's always lost in that audio world.
I know.
I wish I could hear what
He looks so
hears.
good over there doing it too. Anyway, folks, today I hope you've got a little insight into what happens back here in the tech booth. I mean, it does take a group of good folks to get this all sent to you each week. We hope you enjoy it. Invite your friends to church and see what's going on here. Connor looks like he wants to say one more thing. Do you want to say one more thing?
I think we're wrapping up, and so I think it'd be cool if maybe we can show the folks at home in real time this wrap. So, Ethan, if you want to preview our Interlude logo in ProPresenter.
Here we go. Okay, good.
And let's go down to the lever chase,
Lever.
and we're gonna fade on out to the Interlude. Thank you, folks.
Folks, have a great day.